for a while. It is the 200 level. Mike Carpenter in the basement studio on a Wednesday evening as Illinois faces off against number 8 Alabama, and Alabama looks like the number 8 team in the country. Illinois, at the moment, does not necessarily look like a top 25 team. So it's been a humbling experience so far as Illinois entered half down 14. You know, it's kind of a weird spot to be in as a fan because I'm bullish on this team's potential. But it might take time. And as it does, there are going to be, frankly, some alarming things we see. And the question becomes, can they fix it? And if so, how soon? We are underway, 52-38. And again, we're just going to kind of see how this goes. I mean, if it really gets away from them, it might be a shorter podcast. But Illinois gets the first possession here. Hemrickhouse down low to Ivasic. And we get a foul on the floor. So let's start with the concerns, of course. Defensively, Illinois was not good in the first half, and specifically not closing out on threes quickly enough, not getting over the tops of screens quickly enough. A very leaky defense, to say the least. Ivasic 3, no good. Good look, but better rebound from Alabama there. So the first shot is missed. A nice out-of-bounds play there from under the basket. Sears with the ball in the corner. Ivasic on him and knocks it out of bounds. So leaky defense, which we thought might be a concern, but I thought even the first 3 games, albeit against lesser competition, you showed that you would play hard on that end. And I thought that there's enough athleticism on this team that if they play hard, they can overcome that. Another 3 here for Alabama. That's no good. Still kind of late on the closeout there from KJ. Boswell on a bit of a break, but has to reset it with 19:25 to go. As he dribbles it in, looking for something off the board, up and in. Nice finish from Kylan, who I think, despite a couple shot attempts in that first half, has looked pretty good today. Defensively, not bad. Had a nice little steal and put up. And is that going to be a and one, or are we going to get a... No, it looks like we're going to get a foul on the floor here. So, Kylan has been a positive. What else? KJ looks fantastic. Other than that, I don't got a lot for you. And what's frustrating and concerning on the offensive end is a guy like Ben Hemrickhouse, for example, just seems to be a bit, step back 3 from Sears, no good, and a board for Boswell. Nice, Kylan. Hemrickhouse, dead silent in that first half. Ivasic, a couple good moments, but not great, but I'm not necessarily worried about him. Trey White, a couple good takes to the basket. Oh, my God. KJ just gets his pocket picked and a dunk. Suffice to say, just a mess. And you know what's frustrating about this? Kind of like the Ole Miss game. You spotted them a large lead, and then you essentially played even with them. But I don't know how much stock you can take in that because 3 made from Ivasic. It reminds me of the John Gross era where we said after a 20-some point loss in Indiana, well, really, you played them even in the second half. Well, listen, teams are not going to play. It's just human nature. If a team is up 20 or if a team's up even 15, they're not going to play with the same vigor as they were if it were a tie game. Another 3 here from Alabama to go back up 14. So all of this really just leads to the question, what kind of alarm do we ring if this game holds out to be a double-digit loss against Alabama? Ivasic with a rebound. Back to Hemrickhouse. Over to Kylan. Trying to drive it in, finish himself. Good take and one. Nice, Kylan. What kind of alarm bells do you ring? I don't know. I view the non-conference as a 4-game package where you have this one, Arkansas, Tennessee, Duke in February, Missouri if you want to throw that in there, but it's sort of its own thing. And how you do in those games as a whole, let's say if you go 500, I think that's a success. And says that you are a team capable of winning in March, which is all this thing is really about. Not in November, but in March. Kylan with a 3-point play to bring it back within 11. But this is still a grand experiment with a bunch of new players, tend to be exact, some youth, Though I think the youth thing is a bit overrated because of the experience for a lot of them in Europe, for example. Again, way too easy two-man action for Alabama to Grant Nelson. 13-point lead for Alabama. And, hey, it's a process. I'm willing to go through that process. But I also just don't want to get our ass kicked. I mean, if you're going to be nationally relevant, you can't get bum rush. And a blocking foul on KJ. So, yeah. All right, a couple things here in the chat thread from Brad P. I wonder why Brad decided to go with young players instead of saying old this year. I think, Brad, it was the idea of a 2-year window. We'll see how much that comes to fruition with KJ, Will Riley, Ivasic, and their pro potential. I don't mind that, but wouldn't it be interesting if this leads to yet another reset in terms of off-season maneuvering, or kind of like the template with which you go? Mr. P says, no one in the Big Ten is going to be this dynamic offensively. Alabama's going to make a lot of teams look silly when they have it rolling, but yeah, we haven't looked good either. Well, it was sort of frustrating that Alabama decided to not make threes in their first 3 games. Tonight, they've had no problem with that, but it's really not the threes that bother me as much as some of the other offensive possessions they've had where they really are kind of getting to the rim whenever they want. KJ, no good, but a nice take there from Morez. Gets fouled to bring within 13. But the problem is you're scoring here at the start of the half, but you're just trading buckets. And ultimately, that's not going to do you a whole lot of good. I mean, is it a project? And can you turn a project in November into a well-oiled machine by March? I guess that'll be the question. I would agree with you, Mr. P, that you are not going to face many teams as good as Alabama. Big Ten is kind of a weird league this year that there's a lot of good teams. I just don't know how many great ones there are. Man, Morez is not a good free throw shooter. Still a 13-point lead. Alabama back on offense here. But nonetheless, we'd like to think that with the NIL dollars that we have and with the offseason approach we take, that you are a team that is constantly competing for second weekends of the tournament and deep runs. And November or not, that's no good for Alabama. November or not, you just don't want to get bum rushed in a game like this. So it's 16:30 to go. Can you make a run here? Morez at the basket, no good. KJ gets the steal, and it gets stolen away there. No one was really there to, not a great pass from KJ, but Illinois trying to close defensively, but a foul on Morez. It was. Gets his hip in there. That's youth. I will say, in terms of the rotation, I don't know where Kerry Booth fits in all this. I mentioned this in a Substack that I wrote last week, that Kerry seems to be okay at a few things that other guys are probably just a little better at. And I think as time goes on, you're going to see less and less of him. Trey White intrigues me because I think that there's an edge that he can bring. I just wonder if it's better suited off the bench. But if there is a major positive to take today, if we can somehow get Kylan rolling, I'd feel a heck of a lot better about the starting 5. A miss there from Sears, surprisingly at the rim, but Ivasic gets the board. 13-point game. You just want to get single digits. See if you can't make this interesting. Lazy foul there from Alabama. They're 4th. A lot more fouls so far in the second half. The peanut gallery chiming in there. From Brad, need Ty to help get stops. I love Ty. I just don't know if he was the defensive stopper that we all thought. And Connecticut would be a bad example to throw in there as far as Ty Rodgers' defensive ability. No one was stopping Connecticut that night. But I don't... Oh, my God. Alley-oop. Guys, this might be a short podcast. We're just trading buckets and can't defend worth a damn. All right, here's KJ. From the elbow. He's good. 13-point lead. Maybe he just takes every shot from now on. But no, to your point about Ty, Brad. I love Ty. 3 no good for Alabama. I love Ty. I just don't know what his role would have been. And I don't think defensive stopper against a really athletic team like Alabama, I don't think it would have played today. In some Big Ten games, sure. Trey White loses the ball out of bounds. I appreciate the aggressiveness, but while he has drawn 2 fouls around the rim, a little bit of sloppiness too. All right. Got a break here. 200 level brought to you by Hamilton Walkers in downtown Champaign. Steak, seafood, and spirits. Great for date nights. Great for pre or post game, before or after Illini basketball games. Everything in their kitchen, scratch. They make everything, including their ketchup. I mean, down to that detail. I did check on that. They make their own ketchup. What I personally get there, old-fashioned to start, they bring out a basket of bread, which to me is just classy. Like, that's dinner club stuff right there. Bring out the basket of bread, give the side Caesar salad a start, and then usually we'll get a bone-in steak, medium. I'm not so bold as go medium rare. Maybe I should. Plenty of great sauce options, seasoning options. They can kind of do the crust on the steak and everything. Yeah, family-style sides, too. If I were to recommend, I would say the steak fries 100%. So crispy. And I got to throw out either, if you're feeling healthy, the asparagus, or if you're more comfort food, go mac and cheese. Hamilton Walkers in downtown Champaign. Got to thank Dogtown Heating, Air, and Plumbing, your home's best friend. Give them a call at 217-841-4728 and get your furnace checked. I don't know if you saw this, but it might snow tomorrow. Isn't that nice? Our furnace check was last week, so ours is tip-top, ready to go. Dogtown Heating, Air, and Plumbing, super quick to get to your home. Great technicians. They've been working with us now for about 3 years, and we will stick with them because when it comes to HVAC people, you can get fleeced. Let's be honest about that. No, Dogtown Heating, Air, and Plumbing, locally owned, locally operated. You don't need to worry about that stuff with them. 217-841-4728. Also, Owen Builders, LLC. Online at owenbuildersllc.com for any home project you're looking to get started. And they can work through the winter, so don't let the cold weather fool you from getting a free quote on any sort of home project you need. A gallery of their work online at owenbuildersllc.com. And finally, got to thank State Farm agent Brian Hansen. Life, auto, home, business, renters, you name it, Brian is my guy, and he can be your guy as well at brianismyguy.com. College football playoff rankings on the board right now, or brackets, as they would stand. Illinois, 25th in college football playoff rankings. Pretty remarkable place to be. Are we going to make the playoff? No. Are we a team that's worthy of making the playoff? Probably not. But to even be ranked in the top 25 of this first year of a 12-team playoff, that's pretty cool stuff. So kudos to Brett Bielema. And we are not going to talk a whole lot about the Rutgers game today. You know, you got a basketball game on. We'll focus on that. But as I've said before in the podcast, I felt that if you beat Michigan State, you win the last two. And I still believe that. All right, Will Riley up top, 15 on the shot clock. Kicks it back to Tomislav Ivasic. Here's KJ, about 35 feet from the basket. Ivasic about 15 feet away. Looking for Dre and just a lazy pass and a turnover. And open three for Alabama. Up and good. KJ on the ground. It's just that lazy crap that's going to make this a short podcast. New guys or not. Really good Alabama team or not. That looked bad. That looked like a basketball team that ain't worth a shit. And I think we are. I think we will be worth something. And I think the ceiling is right there. But for that to start on the offensive end with the laziest of interior passes, Alabama gets on a break, and then they extend their lead to 16. You are not going to come back trading buckets with Alabama. Dre does not make that three, but a nice rebound and put back by Will. Nice little flashes. But now we're on defense again. So with 14 to go, all is not lost. But you just got to do better than that. And the very last thing they could do is on offense, turn the ball over. Alabama's defense is not that stout. Alabama's defense would let you stay in the game if you don't turn it over, as Alabama themselves turn it over. 14 minutes to go. Will Riley gets to pick up top. He wants the three, but he's going to pass on it. Nice little pass from Ivisic to Trey White and a nice little layup. 12-point game. With 13:45 to go, can you get it single digit at the 12 media timeout? Just to make it just semi-interesting. Sears with the take. Will Riley. I don't have a lot of problem with that defense right there. Little teardrop. I think, was that Sears, number one? Couldn't tell. But regardless, nice finish. Trey White cannot make the three, and Illinois just are not making threes tonight. And they aren't particularly in rhythm either. So I guess if I were to give Alabama's defense credit, it would be for that. Big man for Alabama shoots a three. That's up and good. It is a 17-point game. We might have to check out at the 12-minute timeout. What's there to say? What problems are there to solve tonight against this team in this matchup? That's what I'm not sure of. And again, it's not about overreacting, because I'm not going to do that. And I will say I did not expect to win this game. I just thought the way Alabama had been playing this early in the year, defensively especially, you would have had a chance to come out, make some shots, and make this a game. But you cannot go down, just like the Ole Miss game. Stop going down 14 against any team worth a shit. Stop doing that. Hang. Keep it single digits. So then you aren't trading buckets with a team that's got a huge margin for error. You will not come back from that, as Kylan Boswell misses a free throw. We are shooting about 50% from the line tonight. We're turning the ball over against a defense that was not turning opponents over before tonight. So, do we just chalk it up to 10 new guys? Okay, sure. There's going to be nights where they don't look good. Just don't look awful. I mean, that's it, right? Lose by 7, lose by 8. Alabama's better. You're borderline top 25, but you got room to grow. That's the kind of program you're hoping to operate here, not a kind that gets bum rushed. That's where I'm trying to find that balance between what are reasonable expectations for all these new pieces, but also when you get new pieces like this, you have expectations for yourself that are better than this. And I know Underwood would say that. I know the players would say that. So let's start seeing it. Dre trying to make something happen. He struggled offensively tonight. Good take. Gets the foul. This is from Ryan. Riley looks like a freshman and Sears like an NBA player. I'm not mad about that. Yeah, Ryan, and I think you're referring to the good defense that Riley was playing on that, but it is what it is. That I would agree does not bother me. From Mr. P. No clue how the season finishes, but Underwood's track record of testing his teams early in the season and figuring out later keeps me from being too worked up tonight. Yeah, and it's funny. My wife gets home she does the thing on Wednesday nights, volunteer thing, and says, hey, you guys are starting to do the Izzo thing, playing tough teams. That's good. Yeah, I would agree with that. I do think there's tremendous value. Even if they were to get bum rushed tonight, there's still some value in that. But if you continue to get bum rushed, Dre makes both, 14-point lead, then it's just hard not to wonder, okay, can you fix these issues to a degree that will make you relevant in March? A fair question, I think. A steal here for Illinois. Sears dribbles it off his foot. Dre's going to try to take it himself. He gets the ball stripped. He's going to shoot a three instead. No good. But a good board from Will. Up and in. So a little bit of life from Illinois. Down 12. But again, we've been within 12. I think a couple times even this half. Can you get it single digits? Alabama, no timeout. They're going to play. A block from Merez. Okay. Will bringing it up. Slow down, Will. Okay, he gets rid of it. Kylan will have an open three. It's good. It's a 9-point game. It's a single-digit game. Okay, all right, we'll stay on for a little bit. Timeout, Alabama. I always believed. It wasn't a question of believing or not believing. It was just, man, the trading buckets that you got to show me something. Well, okay. In those 3 minutes, they showed me something. They were down 17 about 3 minutes ago. I'm not sure if that's an 8-0 run or like a 10-2, but that's something to make this at least moderately interesting. All right, from Ryan, I think Arkansas and Tennessee end up looking much more respectable. Alabama could very well wind up in the Final Four again. Ryan, they're a Final Four team, yes. But early in the season, good time to play any team like this when they're not quite at their strength. For Mark, love Morez Johnson. I do too. I know he's raw. I know he's not a good free throw shooter, but he's still offensively pretty good around the rim. And defensively, what a knack for blocking shots, getting rebounds. He's an impact player as a freshman. He's not someone you can count on for 15 points a game, but if he gets an uptick, you can count on him for 6 boards, a block or 2. There is infinite value in that, especially considering Ivisic, not the most physical big man. Good, very good, but just not the most physical. When you need a new look down there, Morez gives you an option. Easy guy to root for. Love the haircut. All right. Quick thing is we got a break here. Hamilton Walkers, State Farm agent Brian Hansen, Dogtown Heating, Air and Plumbing, Owen Builders LLC. Still kind of getting over a cold. The voice is better tonight than it was Sunday, but you can probably still hear a little bit of wear and tear. So hopefully it's not too rough on your ears as you're listening to this. All right. Kylan Boswell's 3, to see him get going is huge. And as him and KJ continue to figure out how they can play off each other. And it is an 8-0 run for Illinois. And it wasn't 3 minutes. It was a minute and 30 seconds. So from 12:57 mark to 11:27, 8-0 run. Can they continue to make this interesting? I will say there is such a thing as moral victories in a game like this. There are 10 new guys this early in the season. If after that start you lose by 5 or 6, right? I'm not disappointed. I'd be bummed that you spotted them that big lead to begin with, but it's really more about how you finish. So Alabama back on offense. Your lineup right now, Morez, Henriquez. Oh, travel there, I thought. They don't call it 3 no good for Alabama, though. Ball don't lie, as they say. I thought that was a travel. Will Riley brings it across the court. He's looking active. He wants it, but he's going to give it to Kylan as they set up offense with 11 to go. Henriquez coming out. Watch for a little stop and pop. Nope. Kylan going to take it himself. No good. Yeah, it's a bit of a force. I had to think that Henriquez would have been around there. No foul, surprisingly. I thought Henriquez just pushed the Alabama guy, but no foul. Will Riley with the ball up top. A lot of space here for him to work. Oh, my God. Oh, I thought that was in. From the elbow, but no good. So 2 empty possessions for Illinois. When you're trying to close on Alabama, dadgummit, you got to do better than that. And in fairness, 2 not-so-good shots from Illinois. A force from Boswell. Elbow shot from Will could have been worse, but yeah. All right, here's Henriquez. It's going to have to be there. It's a 3. It's good. So it is an 8-point game with 10:07 to go. All right. Starting to get some rhythm here. Defensively, even getting a few stops. Alabama with the ball, 20 on their shot clock, 9:55 to go. A guard number 2 over the top, and that's way too easy. A foul on Morez away from the ball. It's lucky that didn't go in because that would have been away from the ball foul, and the shot would have counted. It didn't go in, so Alabama will just get a possession here. But a huge 3 from Henriquez. Bring it within 8. Well, while we got a break, should we talk Illinois Rutgers? Why I feel good about it. I was doing a little bit of research this week and trying to figure out, okay, how good is Rutgers? I know that they beat Minnesota at home the week after you lost to Minnesota at home. So if you're looking common opponents, that would raise some eyebrows. I'm going to keep it very simple. Minnesota has a good defense that for whatever reason was not that good against Rutgers that day. Rutgers all season long has not had a good defense. So I don't view this in the same way that I did the Illinois-Minnesota matchup. I think that Rutgers' defense will give you opportunities to score 4, maybe 5 times. So like anywhere between 23, 24, 27, 28 points, right? Mid-20s. The question is, can you keep Ethan Kaliakmanis, who feels like he's been in the league for 7 years, Minnesota now Rutgers? Can you keep an offense led by Kaliakmanis from scoring as much as you? I know it's oversimplistic, just saying it. But to me, that's really the crux of it. And to me, I felt better about the defense, given the way that they attacked the fourth quarter against Michigan State, and think if they can continue to just say, listen, we're going to be aggressive, okay? That's going to be our thing. Then I feel so much better about that going forward. What's this replay here? Why are they showing the Austin P. Illinois highlight? Whatever. I was born at that point, but I was not even 1 year old, so I don't remember that. But Austin P is a name that has lived in infamy for Illinois fans for a long time. It is, as Mr. P says, the Rutgers game is a pick 'em in Vegas. Yeah, no, I think Illinois wins. I would say this. If Illinois doesn't win, I think that is a subpar loss for this team and where they're at, which, again, is not great. I just think they're good. And I'm also anxious to see the effect of getting that proverbial monkey, however big or small, off your back by beating Michigan State. It was big for the fans, for sure, in terms of swoons that we've had in November before. But I also think it was big for the team just in the context of this season, because how do you not start questioning after Oregon and then the sleepy performance against Minnesota? How good are we? I mean, and a bye week can be a good thing, but also to sit in that for a bye week, I don't know, what kind of mind games is that playing on you? So you wonder, okay, how much juice are they going to come out with against Michigan State? And I thought they did. I thought that offensively you saw the 53-yarder to Pat Bryant tells you they were ready to go. And I thought the finish, though, told me that that was a team that weathered a few hiccups throughout that game, wasn't up as much as they wanted to be in the second or third quarter, and then ultimately took control, like a good team does. I think that bodes really well for the Rutgers game and the Northwestern game going forward. Can you lose one? Sure. Would you lose both? I'd be surprised the way that Bielema's track record has gone, not just at Illinois, but other places. I would be surprised if that were the case, given the quality of these two opponents. 8-4, I'd be happy with. 9-3, I'd be ecstatic. And it just feels like it's right there for you. This is not 2 years ago when you actually played some good teams down the stretch in that 3-game losing streak. Okay, I don't know what we're waiting for. It looks like the clocks aren't working. What's going on here? Let's move it along, guys. Move it along. Basketball headlines on the screen. Yeah, I don't know. This game was moving swimmingly. I will say that. 9:52 to go. It's 9:35. Interesting to see Cliff Omoyuri. Am I saying that correct? Out there for Alabama after all those years at Rutgers. Looks like we're underway again. And we still have the 8-4 media timeout left. 3 timeouts for Illinois, 2 for Alabama. All right, out for Illinois, Rickhouse, Boswell, Dre, KJ, so 3 guards, and Ivisic. I kind of like that. I would imagine that Dre will go out for Will Riley here in a bit. I don't know if you're going to see Trey White the rest of the game. I think the rest of the guys are probably going to be out there for the remainder. All right, good switch up top from Illinois defensively. Dre keeping his guy in front of him. And Illinois just late. Boswell late to cover. And I can't tell, though, if that was Rickhouse's fault or not. But regardless, a lame foul. If you're going to foul on an and one, at least do more than brush by him. And I'm trying to look at this and see if Boswell even really touched him. He must have gotten his hand or something. Regardless, that's a big make there for Alabama with 9:40 to go. 3-point play is good. 11-point Alabama lead. Stems the tide for the moment with 9:35 to go. 8-minute media timeout, get it single digits. 4-minute media timeout, even closer than that. KJ3 is no good. Alabama board. And can Illinois stop the ball here? And it is up and in. Jesus. They're good. But not a lot of resistance from Illinois on that take from Aiden Holloway. Number 2, he's got 16. Here's Dre. That's a force from the elbow. And, boy, just when you got it back in, somehow Alabama misses a layup and a dunk. Illinois with a chance to get it back within 11 or 10 here. All right, here's Kylan. Humrick House. Got to get him a look, man. Got to get him a look. KJ looking for a 3, no go. Kylan up top, 8:38 to go. Shot clock down to 5. Boswell defended pretty heavily here. He finds Dre in the corner. Dre's going to have to take it up and in. It doesn't drop. It's a layup. Dre's playing sped up. That's unfortunate because I love Dre, but man, he's looking inexperienced tonight. No foul called on Ivasic. So they're letting these guys play. With 8:10 to go, it's still a 13-point lead for Alabama. You got to score. This is not one of the better defenses you're going to face. I'm sorry, it just isn't. KJ with an absolute shit pass, saying that it was brushed off of Alabama. I mean, I would hope that's the case with how off the mark that pass was to Ivasic. Let's see. Was it? I don't know. I couldn't tell if that went off Hansen or not. 11 turnovers for Illinois, 5 for Alabama. And here's the thing. Illinois' defense, even when it's good, is not one that turns the ball over. They keep the guys in front of them. They get the board. That's it. Like last year when the defense worked well, that's what it was. Benham Rickhouse is a sieve defensively. He just is. If he's facing an athletic 4, it ain't happening. And just like that, an 8-point game is 15. Boswell gets fouled, bailed out there. I think I got one more 4-minute increment here. A disappointing stretch. Because you get within 8, and you're thinking if you finish this strong, you feel good. But then that little rush to get within 8 feels like a mirage, not like a legit run. And that's a shame. Now, in all of that, Will Riley was on the bench. All of that right there, Will Riley was on the bench. Why? I'm not sure. He can't play every minute. I get that. But it felt like he was starting to really get comfortable out there. And then take him out. Now, he's going to be back out, I'm sure, when we tune back in. But would have been nice to have a guy with that offense out there. All right, going to hit the sponsors again. Hamilton Walkers, Downtown Champaign, Steak, Seafood, and Spirits. Brian Hansen, State Farm Agent at brianismyguy.com. Owen Builders LLC, online at owenbuildersllc.com. And Dogtown Heating, Air, and Plumbing, your home's best friend. Give them a call at 217-841-4728. All right. We wait for the game to get back. Yeah, disappointing effort. Disappointing effort for sure. Sloppy. Correctable. But more questions than answers. Now, I hope at some point this year that flips and there's more answers than questions. And that you can look at this team and say there's 2 or 3 weaknesses or things that you don't feel great about. But overall, this is what they are, and this is why we feel good about it. I hope that's the case. I think that will be the case. But a game like this, without overreacting to it, reminds you, oh, wow, there's a lot of work left. Okay. I mean, you see the talent there, right? I think, to me, though, it's like KJ is phenomenal as a talent, and Ivasic, same thing. Will Riley, same thing. But in a way, those are the givens. You know those guys are supremely talented. You know that they are capable of going off. The question is, who is capable of being consistent? And I'm going to move outside those three guys and start focusing on the Trey Whites and the Kylan Boswells of the world, the Benham Rickhouses of the world, the Dre Gibbs Lawhorns of the world. How much can you count on them to be consistent? As much as I like Dre, when he's gotten around the rim tonight, he's looked like a freshman. Much as I like him, Rickhouse, he is struggling against athletes. He just is. He looks like a guy that played NAIA 2 years ago. Like out of his league. And he's on the bench right now. Nope. Alabama passed up the three. This is Hansen and an easy take. Up and, yeah, this is getting away from Illinois. Just getting schooled. And then defensively, Illinois knew that would be an issue coming into this year. Rickhouse about to check back in. They knew it would be an issue coming into this year. The question is, can they scheme themselves to be a serviceable defense? Can they do that? I don't know if that was a pass or a air ball from KJ, but he does get the steal on the other end to get it back. Yeah, just, boy, kind of a mess right now. It's one of those things where the next day when you go into work, and people are like, do you watch that game? You're like, oh, God, I don't know, man. Because really, we don't know. We don't know, as Colin does go up and in, how big of an issue this is or is not on November 20th. But it doesn't look good, and it doesn't feel good. But I'm trying to be the mature fan and not freak out. All right, Kylan, to try to bring it within 14. Just like that. I mean, you were within 8. And then you go scoreless for 3 minutes. He misses another freaking layup. So, not that it would matter. If Illinois had shot 70% from free throw line tonight, it'd be an 11-point game instead of 15. But still, make your free throws. Up and in for Alabama. So, all right, we're going to wrap things up here because it's getting too late for this garbage. 17 points separate these two teams. Will Riley 3 up. Good. 14-point lead. And a timeout for Illinois. I guess we stay. Dang it. From Clam Sword. In no world should Trey White be getting minutes while Ty Rodgers redshirts. Clam, I'm not going to shut that down because I don't want to pretend like Ty Rodgers could not be sometimes effective last year. Trey White is not impressed. He has not looked like the top 40 recruit that he was 2 years ago. His college stats leading into Illinois indicated kind of a messy offensive player. Defensively, he hasn't shown me a lot. I hope, Clam, that that's not something we're saying in 2-3 months. Because that would be a major misfire, if so, on Brad Underwood. Now, would Ty Rodgers be excelling in this game? No. I don't think he would be. All right, from Ryan, I think the best thing to take from this game is that Kylan is kind of getting his groove back. I would agree. Not making his free throws, but overall I do think he's getting his groove back. Boy, I don't want to lose at Northwestern. I'm looking at that schedule, and it's like, oh, God, that's kind of a game because I don't know if you're going to beat Arkansas on Thanksgiving. That's kind of a game at Northwestern where if you don't win that, you start worrying a little bit. Like, I know it's December, but where are we going? Airball 3 from Nelson. You started off with, I think, 12 points in the first 4 minutes? He's been quiet since. KJ with the ball and a pick from Ivasic. Kylan 30 feet away from the basket down to Ivisic, trying to work his way in. Nice move, up and in. 12-point game with 5:25 to go. $12-7 for Ivisic, so good game for him. I mean, again, you're going to get him, KJ, and I think once Will really gets comfortable, they're going to be good every night. And a take from Nelson, who's good. He has 23 on the night, but he should not have 23. He just shouldn't. He was averaging 12 coming in this game. Ivisic looking for Will Riley. Will trying to create for himself. Finds Ivisic again, who finds KJ in the corner. KJ driving it, finds Will Riley in the corner. 3 is up and good. So it's an 11-point game. I mean, God, signs of life. If he just wouldn't have gone down so freaking much earlier, then you'd have a puncher's chance here at the end. All right. Alabama. Steal from Benham Rickhouse. Well done. Got his length up there. And here's Kylan bringing it across half court. From Rickhouse. Driving it. Will Riley 3 gets fouled. He's good at that. 4:11 to go. He's going to go to the line to shoot 3 and a chance to bring it within 8. I think you just got to go with these 5 right here. You get immediate timeout under 4. How much of that was acting? How much of that was contact? That angle was from the side. Oh yeah, he got his arm. God, he's good at that. What is the sort of innate ability of him to draw fouls while shooting 3s? First free throw is good. He missed his first 2 on the day, so good to see him make that one. 10-point game. He's got 11 this second half, 14 on the game for Will Riley. He's a dude. You could just tell that despite how skinny he is, makes a second, he's just a pro. I mean, the skill just pops off the screen. And when I've seen him at State Farm Center, it's just a different kind of dude on the court that we don't often get. Mark Sears with 0 points tonight, and you're down 9. Did not have that on the proverbial bingo card, as Jeremy and Joey often allude to. That one's no good for Will. So it's a 9-point lead with 4:05 to go. Now those missed free throws for Illinois loom a little bit larger. You'd be within 4 or 3 points if you just made a few more of those. Morez with the block. Here's Will Riley trying to drive it. Up and good. And they are going to wave it off for goaltend on Morez. Now the question is, are they going to look at it? And if Morez didn't touch it, let's see. Will they show it? Will to the basket. Yeah, he touched it. Morez. Ugh. Not going to be the difference in the game, I don't think, but man. Well, last media timeout. We're still here. Can you believe it? Ugh. Freshmen will make mistakes, but they just add up. You know, love the guy, but damn, you just gotta let that sit. You gotta let that sit on the rim. All right, can Illinois win this game? Down 9 with 4 to go. Just make it interesting. You know, what the hell? Make it interesting. Don't go on a scoreless streak and let Alabama go back up 15. Avoid that. Make it interesting. Might turn into a foul shooting contest. We'll be here a little bit longer. But, you know, you do see from individuals and occasionally from groups of 5 on the court, there's something there. But without overreacting, Kerry Booth, we already figured he's not going to be a big part of this rotation. You can just see it. It's not there yet. I don't know where Trey White fits in this rotation at the moment. I think off the bench. You cannot continue to sit Will Riley at the start of the game. And you might say, well, he's getting more minutes. I understand that. But you cannot put yourself in a position game in, game out where you are leaving potentially your best offensive threat as your sixth man. Don't get too cute. Trey White might even be rejuvenated off the bench. Like, this is your role. You're the alpha off the bench that can rebound and take it to the rim and draw fouls, be the aggressor. Right now, that role is not fitting the starting five. Will Riley is a starting player. I know a few years ago I had a whole thing about whether or not Andre Curbelo should start because Illinois in 2020, 21 was having rough starts. And eventually Curbelo did become a starter in February, and Jacob Grandison did too. Curbelo, because Io went out for the injury. But I kept kind of, ringing that bell and thinking this was like a cause to take up. Start Curbelo. Now, Will Riley is an NBA player. You got to start him because he just makes you better. He needs to start and finish games. Will that begin on Saturday? We'll see. But he's that dude, so you got to play him. All right, Alabama with a take. No good. Ivisic at the board. 3:40 to go. We got some time here. Henrik House back to Will Riley, who I think he wants it. Will taking a baseline, gets the foul. He will go to the line, and Illinois is in the double bonus, so he'll shoot two. Now, Will's missed a lot of free throws today, though. 3 to be exact. He's 2 for 5 from the line. Have not noticed Cliff Omaruri. Why is that such a hard freaking name to say? I've not noticed Cliff very much tonight. How's that? All right, Riley, free throws up, but no good, man. That is 4 missed free throws. How can one be so good shooting from the field and so bad shooting from the line? I'll make this one. There he goes. 8-point game with 3:35 to go. God, you just now those points that you've left on the board. Ugh. 13 for 24. 56% or something like that. Those are freebies, man. Ugh. Illinois, decent defense so far in this possession with 10 to go. Good switch up top. Baseline foul, and that's okay. You had a foul to give anyway, so that's a 16 foul for Illinois. We'll reset the shot clock to 20 with 3:13 to go. Would we say the defensive effort's been better this half? I mean, overall, you had a shooting drought or two that kept you from making a more significant dent in this lead. I do think the defensive execution and intensity has been better this half. And they have to throw it deep here on the inbound. 17 to go on the shot clock. 3:10 on the game clock. Now, good job by Ivisic, but now we got a bad switch here. KJ knocks it out of bounds, so a good defensive possession so far for Illinois. They cannot, whatever happens, give up a second chance. Mark Sears still on the bench. 0 for 5, 0 points. All right, here we go. Pick up top. Will Riley gets the block, and they're going to call the foul. I want to see the replay on that. He went over the screen. I don't know. Did he get his hand? Yep. Top of his hand. Well, I like the effort. I don't like fouling a 3-point shooter because this could be an 11-point game just like that. But right now is your finishing 5, and it should be your starting 5. He does miss that second free throw, so it's a 9-point game. Can you get a break and him miss 2? Illinois in the double bonus. I think you can just attack to the rim here. 10-point game with 3 to go. It doesn't need to be a 3. Attack the rim. Go with the line. KJ to Boswell. 2:50 left in the game clock. Boswell driving it. And he did not see the defender coming through. And that's just piss poor lack of vision from Boswell. 90-78, 12-point lead. Ivicic 3, no good. And that should do it. Well, you can't spot good teams 14-point leads. And just like that, Alabama's up 14 again. And we're going to sign off because I'm not watching this garbage. God dang it. Twice again within 8. But Alabama's still good. So essentially, you played them even this half. And you showed signs. Stop putting yourselves in the hole against good teams. If the Ole Miss exhibition hadn't happened, this would be a one-off. That's 2. Against teams worth of crap, you've gotten yourself in a hole, and you've never been able to really dig out of it. So stop doing that. Up to the coaching staff to figure out how to do that. Aiden Holloway, 6 points on the season, 18-9. Why not? Why the hell not? On a night where Mark Sears will finish with 0 points, you're going to lose by double digits to Alabama. Why? Because you were sloppy. The defense, when it needed to be good, was bad. And you got some work to do. It can be done. There's talent on this team. But a humbling experience, and it's back to the drawing board. But for now, with 2:19 to go, down 14, I'm signing off. Maybe I'll regret it, but it would be the miracle of all miracles. Let's stay for one more possession. Duh. And then I'll try to sign off. KJ with the ball. He finds some Rick House 3. Up and in. 11-point game. Just do that all the time. 2 minutes to go. Alabama. If they score again, I got to sign out. Taking to the rim. Nope. Kick it back out. Decent close on the baseline. Alabama now driving it back in. This is number 3. This is number 2. I don't know their names really. And the 3 is no good. And a board for Ivicic with 1:40 to go. A lot of time went off the clock on that. Just shoot a 3. You got to kind of shoot one here. Here's KJ 3. And that's way off. All right, I'm out of here. Have a good rest of your night, everybody. Learning experience, let's hope. Way too easy alley-oop. And 1. Good night. It's the 200 level. See you, everybody. Have a good night.